There's a moment in life most people don't talk about openly. A quiet, heavy moment where nothing feels right, even when everything looks fine. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You're trying. You're moving forward. But inside, there's noise, restlessness, doubt, fear. And that's exactly where this ancient conversation begins. Not in a temple, not in a peaceful forest, but on a battlefield. This is where Krishna speaks to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, not about religion in the way we usually think of it, but about something far more human. How to stay calm when life feels like war. Number 1, the problem isn't outside, it's inside. Arjuna is standing in the middle of chaos. War is about to begin. He looks around and suddenly he breaks. His hands shake, his thoughts spiral. He doesn't want to fight anymore. And honestly, it's relatable, because most of us have had our own version of that moment. Not with swords and arrows, but with decisions we're afraid to make, responsibilities we don't want to face, people we don't want to hurt. We freeze, we overthink, we escape. And then Krishna says something that feels almost uncomfortable. Your suffering is not coming from the situation, it's coming from your attachment to it. That's hard to hear, because it means peace isn't something we'll find by fixing the outside world. It's something we have to understand inside ourselves. Number 2, detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. A lot of people misunderstand this part. When Krishna talks about detachment, it doesn't mean becoming cold, or emotionless, or disconnected from life. It means something much more subtle. It means not letting outcomes control your peace. Think about it. Most of our anxiety doesn't come from what we're doing, it comes from what might happen because of it. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if I lose this? So we stop acting freely. Krishna's advice is simple, but not easy. Do your duty, give your best, but don't tie your identity to the result. Because the moment your happiness depends on an outcome, you've already lost your peace. Number 3, you are not your thoughts. Here's something people rarely question. We believe every thought that comes into our mind. If a thought says, "You're not good enough," we feel it's true. If it says, "You're going to fail," we start preparing for failure. But Krishna introduces a different way of seeing things. He says, you are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. That small shift changes everything, because now instead of being controlled by thoughts, you can observe them. And when you observe something, you create distance from it. And in that distance, there is peace. Number 4, control what you can and let go of the rest. This sounds simple, but most people don't actually live this way. We spend so much time trying to control things we can't. Other people's opinions, future outcomes, past mistakes. It's exhausting. Krishna breaks it down clearly. You have control over your actions. You do not have control over the results. That's it. Not complicated, but deeply uncomfortable. Because it asks you to trust without guarantees, to act without certainty, to move forward without knowing how it ends. But that's where peace starts growing, not in certainty, but in surrender. Number 5, your duty is your path to peace. There's a line in the Gita that feels very real when you sit with it. It is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live someone else's perfectly. Let that sink in. A lot of inner conflict comes from this one mistake, trying to live a life that doesn't belong to you. Choosing careers to impress others, staying in relationships out of fear, following paths that feel empty but look successful, and then wondering why peace never comes. Krishna reminds Arjuna, your duty, your natural path is where your clarity lives, even if it's hard, even if it's messy. Because peace doesn't come from doing what's easy. It comes from doing what feels true. Number 6, the mind is your friend or your enemy. Krishna doesn't pretend the mind is easy to control. In fact, He admits it's restless, powerful, difficult, but he also says something important. The mind can lift you, or it can destroy you. And if you think about it, that's true. The same mind that can create anxiety can also create focus. The same mind that traps you in fear can also free you. So what makes the difference? Practice, awareness, discipline. Not perfection, just small, consistent effort. Learning to pause, to notice, to redirect, again and again. Number 7. Real peace is quiet, not dramatic. We often imagine peace as something big, a perfect life, no problems, constant happiness. But Krishna describes peace differently, not as excitement, not as escape, but as stillness. A state where you're not shaken by success, you're not broken by failure, you're not controlled by fear or desire. It's quiet, almost unnoticed, but incredibly powerful. Number 8. Surrender is not weakness. This might be the hardest part to accept, because surrender sounds like giving up. But Krishna's idea of surrender is very different. It's not about quitting life, it's about trusting something bigger than your fear. It's about saying, I will do my part, and I will accept what comes. Not passively, but with strength. Because real surrender doesn't come from weakness. It comes from understanding you don't control everything, and you don't need to. Number 9. Why this still matters today. It's easy to think of the Bhagavad Gita as something ancient, something distant. But the truth is, nothing has changed. People still struggle with anxiety, still feel lost, still overthink, still search for peace. The battlefield just looks different now. Deadlines instead of arrows, social pressure instead of war, internal conflict instead of external enemies. And yet, the solution remains the same. Not outside, but inside. 10. A simple way to apply this in real life. You don't need to read the entire Gita to start feeling this shift. Just begin with this. When you feel overwhelmed, pause. Ask yourself, what am I trying to control right now that I actually can't? Let it go, just a little. Then ask, what is one action I can take right now? Do that. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, just honestly. And slowly you'll start noticing something. The noise gets quieter, the pressure feels lighter, and for a moment, you feel okay. Inner peace isn't something you find once and keep forever. It's something you return to, again and again and again. Through awareness, through acceptance, through letting go. That's the quiet wisdom Krishna shares. Not a promise of a perfect life, but a way to stay steady, even when life isn't. And maybe that's the kind of peace we're really searching for.